Hello, everybody! My name is Kevin Andrew Rivera. Welcome to Real Geek News, talking about Star Wars Celebration. Over here, I have my co-host, the freaking commander of the Clone Army, Raul Ceballos. How are you, Raul?
What's up? I'm doing all right, man. I'm ready to talk about the wars.
Heck yeah, the wars. Veteran war flashbacks. Then we have from the dark side over here, Chad Cook. Chad, how you doing, man?
Good. Nice to be here. I just want to release the droidicars for you, if I can.
Oh, droidicas. Those are nice.
Yeah.
And of course, we got our Master Jedi, Ted Evans, right over here. How are you, my guy?
What up? Doing good, man. I actually have a lightsaber here I could fire up.
Oh.
I freaking knew it. Please pull it out when you can. That'll be awesome. If we can hear some lightsaber sound effects throughout this episode, I think that'd be perfect. But yes, as we said earlier, this is the Star Wars Celebration 2023 coverage. There is so much Star Wars. Oh, I see a lightsaber. Let's hear it.
Oh shit, the batteries are dead!
Your lightsaber just farted.
It's Luke's, and it is.
Oh, no.
Can I just say, if I heard a fart every time a lightsaber ignited, I would probably watch those scenes over
Somebody
and over
needs
again.
to make that video.
Yeah, that edit'll happen.
Oh, yeah.
That would be so awesome.
It's like the video, you see the video where all the lightsaber fights, but instead of the lightsaber sounds, it's Owen Wilson's wow, wow,
Oh,
wow,
yeah.
wow.
Oh, funny.
Wait, could you ignite that lightsaber one more time for me? That's just too freaking funny.
It's like barely even a sound. It's just.
Let's hear that again. Well, I guess the Force is strong with that lightsaber.
That's bad.
Well then, gentlemen, why don't we jump right on into this whole thing? There is so much coverage to discuss. I want to say off the top that it feels like Star Wars is following like a timeline thing very similar to Marvel's phases. But let's dive right into this. This comes to us from Polygon. We got this Star Wars canon timeline revealed at the Star Wars Celebration 2023. Quote here from Polygon says, Kennedy showed an image with the newly expanded timeline on screen, leading from Dawn of the Jedi through the Old Republic, High Republic, Fall of the Jedi, Reign of the Empire, Age of Rebellion, New Republic, Rise of the First Order, to the New Jedi Order.
Good God.
There is so much, you guys.
Too much.
We got
Too
to
much.
that's it. Everybody's not. Well, Marvel's got a timeline. We got to everybody put out your timelines. We got to make a timeline.
Or, don't tell us that you're making these so, you don't cancel them the week from now or whatever. So.
Oh, man. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, Kathleen Kennedy has kind of just been canceling everything she announces for the most part. So, I don't know. I feel a little confident in this because hopefully they're already starting to announce some castings for certain projects. So specifically some of the movies that they've been announcing today or for this weekend.
Yeah.
Ted, what do you think about all this timeline mumbo jumbo stuff?
Dude, I'm already burnt out, man.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like having Marvel fatigue, but for Star Wars.
Oh, no.
It'd be Star Wars fatigue. I've been watching The Mandalorian. It's like I've tried to keep up, and I have done my damnedest to like watch the Clone Wars and like single thing that's coming out. I went through Boba Fett. That was
Oh,
and then
man.
Obi-Wan, and now they're Obi-Wan season 2, and it's Bad Batch season 2 and 3. I'm like, who has the time?
I mean,
also, if it's gonna be really good, then I'm in. But if it's gonna be kind of like meh, like it's. Like Mando season 3 has been a little wonky lately.
Yeah. Especially if you're making it through Clone Wars and Rebels, like the animated stuff, that's pretty dense. Like there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
Like, and a lot of the stuff, like in the new season of Mando, and then we saw a trailer for Ahsoka, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. Filoni is really trying to bring Rebels into live action, which is cool. Right.
Yeah.
But like, how many people have watched every single thing? Like I have, because I tortured myself listening to every season.
Dude, I just started trying to watch season 2 of Star Wars Rebels because as soon as I saw this Ahsoka trailer, which we will discuss later today, everybody, I instantly was like, oh man, those are all the characters from Rebels. Okay, let me go back. Yeah. Gotta watch this. But I still have like 40 or 60 episodes left, and I'm
so many filler episodes as well, so you just gotta rush through them.
That's been the hard part is going through all the filler. So I might just go on one of those websites that tell me how to skip through that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bunch of websites dedicated. It was the same with Clone Wars. They just like condense it down. Like these are the episodes you need to see. You know,
Yeah.
if you want
Now-
like a truncated version.
I will say though, in a way, I know we're kind of bashing the whole timeline stuff, but at the same time, I kind of got a little excited about it just because most of the projects we've been seeing take place between the Age of Rebellion and the New Republic and the Rise of the First Order. They've just been stuck in this timeline because they wanted to play it safe and give us the things they thought we wanted, which doesn't always work out the way it is, you know? Like, I've always wanted to see an Old Republic series or a High Republic series. I don't think they announced anything with Old or High Republic, but we are going to talk about some Dawn of the Jedi. But I want to see some stories that take place in a different timeline. That way I don't have to see Boba Fett anymore. I don't have to see Bossk. I don't have to see any other characters from Star Wars that we've already seen. Because, we don't want to be in this universe. Like, it's a universe. It's a Star Wars universe where anywhere these characters go, they shouldn't be interacting with all the same characters that we've already seen all the time.
Very true.
I want to see something new. If we're going to do something in different timelines, great. Give us a new story. Give us some new characters, which I think that's exactly what they're going to start doing now. And hopefully they're taking more confident choices and chances to make this all work out,
Well, I think like Mandalorian is a great example of that because the first season was like just its own thing and new characters that we don't really know. There's sort of loosely like Baby Yoda, of course, is recognizable, but like it wasn't until the end of season 2 that we start seeing a lot of the same like Skywalker people, and it's like, okay, well, this is cool. I'm glad to see them, but I kind of liked it when it was just its own thing, standalone.
That being said, it was cool when Luke Skywalker.
It was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
Of course.
It was very good.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I would prefer, though, if, even skip the whole Old Republic stuff, like way before the original trilogy, because that eventually will lead into, the Skywalker stuff. So I'm thinking jump way into the future. And I know there's one coming, but I mean, like,
Not
nothing
even farther.
connected.
Like 15 years in the future.
Yeah, like even more than that, like thousands.
300.
of years.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you could get creative with the technology because we're kind of stuck with the set series of the Skywalker, like the tech. You see that through Mandalorian, and nothing gets newer, really. So
The only thing about that is that even if they go 1,000 years in the future, they're gonna have to have Skywalkers because
the
timeline continues
disagree.
it.
I disagree because they can, like, it doesn't even have to have Jedi. It could just be people. Because Andor was so good.
Yeah.
I think they could just follow a separate story. It doesn't even have to be the First Order stormtroopers. It could be just some force or if you're a reader of the old legend books like the Uzun Vong, like those, that was an interesting group that they came across. But
That would be cool if we could maybe with the what is it, the new Jedi Order stuff, which we'll talk about later. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see if maybe the Uzun Vong could make an appearance. Maybe they'll pull them into canon. But
Also-
really quick, going to this timeline thing, I will say it is kind of it makes it easier for me, but at the same time it makes it more complicated because now they've established this timeline. So I can go, okay, this will make it easier to kind of put everything in order. But then I started to think and I was like, wait a minute, where the hell, if we think about everything that's come out, where does everything go? And some of it you can more or less guess, but then with all the new stuff that they've been announcing, it's just been kind of like a lot of all over the place, right? We're doing something thousands of years in the past. We're currently doing Mandalorian stuff. We just had Andor over here, and then we're going to do, stuff in the future. And I'm trying to organize all this in my brain, and I feel like I'm getting a lot thrown at me, and we're just jumping all over the timeline. So it's a little frustrating, but at the same time, I am glad that they have established this timeline so we can kind of plug things into.
well,
Which
don't
also-
forget.
It's also just a good thing that we're going to cover all these stories today because I found most information on where on the timeline each project's going to go. But even that, it's like there's so many projects to keep track of. So the timeline is going to be full of different things.
Right.
Chad, sorry, you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just gonna add to what Raul was saying because that's not even counting the comic books and the books or novels that get made. Because
They're not
connected.
even canon.
But no,
Who
but
cares?
the trilogy of books that have Thrawn in them, and then
Yes.
Oh
and
yeah.
Thrawn's in Rebels, and it's just like, all right, well,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to abbreviate.
They've
The
cherry
character.
picked stuff from the books, like, oh, we like Thrawn.
Yeah.
Has to be that.
You're official now.
They're
Heir to
definitely
the
pulling
Empire. Okay.
it's definitely like a very Kevin Feige decision where they do nitpick what they like
Yeah.
about the comics, or what the books,
The-
But
yeah, the
honestly,
legends.
to me, as someone who doesn't read the novels of Star Wars, I kind of appreciate it because now I don't have to read 3,500 books of Star Wars
But it's
to understand
better.
what's going on. hopefully the writers that do the screenplays for these new projects do a good job telling the stories of these books. Like there's a story of like Darth Vader and Palpatine being stranded on a planet together,
Yeah.
and they have to have like one-on-one like character study with each other. And I thought like that's a cool idea that I think they should put on the screen and maybe do
That
like a
would be cool.
TV series.
Well, that
of,
is
you know?
that is one of the official canonical books, actually. That one that
Yeah.
you're talking about, that does like they don't need to adapt that. Like that's already part of the canon.
They could just do it on TV. Do it. Just put it on Disney
Well,
Plus.
I think
Take
they
my
should
money.
just cut out they can keep the animation for TV, but like cut out the live action TV and just make movies, because then you could tell tighter stories. You don't have like weak episodes that don't do well, and then each scene will be that much more important. Because
But in some of those cases, like it works better because you get to flesh things out a little more with TV.
well, that
You
didn't
get
happen
more-
for Obi-Wan, that
Yeah, but with Andor, you got a pretty good character studies there.
Andor.
It gives you more real estate to explore stuff like that if you do it well.
Yeah.
Like some shows don't do it very well, like with
No.
Obi-Wan.
Well then, gentlemen, why don't we jump into our first project here that got announced? We got the Ahsoka series trailer coming out here, and we got a quote here from Movie Phone. It says here, led by Filoni behind the scenes, the series follows the former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano as she investigates an emerging threat to a vulnerable galaxy, specifically Grand Admiral Thrawn, a villain created by Timothy Zahn for his novel series. He's already in screen canon thanks to appearances on Filoni's animated series Star Wars Rebels, and will now be in live action, though his casting was yet to be announced. On day 2, we find out that he'll be played by Lars Mikkelsen, who voices him in Star Wars Rebels. Also making the leap from Rebels, since Ahsoka also appeared on that show, are Sabine Wren, Natasha Liu Bordizzo will be playing her, Hera Syndulla, Mary Elizabeth Winstead will be playing her, and cranky droid Chopper with the promise of others. Ahsoka will launch on Disney Plus this August, and it's also a little thing to add here is that David Tennant will also be returning as a live-action Hu Yang in the series.
Hu Yang.
I gotta finish Rebels already so I can know what the heck all this means, but
Well, he does. Hu Yang
Well-
is briefly in the Clone Wars, just a little bit. Not as much as
okay.
he is in Rebels.
I will say, the fact that they call her Jedi Knight, I was like, should I be nerdy here? Is she a Jedi Knight? I don't know.
no, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
A
You know-
self-appointed Jedi Knight. Although I think if you ask Ahsoka,
Jedi.
Or
trainee.
gray Jedi.
if you ask Ahsoka,
You don't
she
like to
probably
use that
wouldn't
term.
tell you she's a Jedi, right?
I mean,
she said it on Rebels. I am no Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
There you go.
so
Yeah,
movie
that's it.
phone is wrong.
So what are
Call
you?
them.
Yeah, movie phone. What the heck, guys? Come on. Use your sources. You're embarrassing me. Come on. But also, I want to point out, Harrison Dulla's character, or actress, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she's the girlfriend from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
What's her
She's
what's
a-
the character's name?
Oh,
She's
Ramona?
Hera.
Ramona. She plays
Ramona.
Ramona.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know that she is married to Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, you
What?
didn't know that?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. He left his wife for her.
Yeah.
The big
Good
scandal.
choice. Good
And I-
choice
and-
for him.
So
Yeah.
now Ewan McGregor, his wife Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and his daughter, who plays like a junkie in the Obi-Wan series, are all in Star Wars. That's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, I think Mary is a great choice for that character.
Oh yeah.
It should be fun to see how she plays it, and the fact that they got the voice actor for Thrawn to play Thrawn in the show is
Brilliant.
great. But is he related to Mad Mikkelsen?
Yes,
Are they
he
related?
is. They are brothers.
Okay.
And-
really?
Yes, it is. He's related to Mads Mikkelsen. They're brothers.
Oh.
And what's great about doing this is like Lars Mikkelsen is already a good on-screen actor already. I mean, in his own right. And he actually was. If you guys watched House of Cards, he was for several seasons he played like the Russian president, and I can't remember.
Oh,
yeah.
But he was the Russian president who was giving, Frank a hard time and all that stuff. But he was great in that show. And then they, had him voice Thrawn on Rebels.
nice.
And so it just made sense. Like, for a while, everybody's like, well, Thrawn's going to be live action. Who's going to play him? Who's going to play him? And it just makes sense. Well, let's just get the guy who did the voice. It'll be consistent vocally. And he's also a good on-camera actor, too. So,
Well, it was funny. People were
Just a no-brainer.
speculating his brother to be Thrawn, Mad Mikkelsen.
well, that's
like-
but he's already in Rogue One. He's
Yeah.
Galen Erso.
No, I know that's fine. But I mean,
Can you
if-
imagine? Can you imagine your brother being like, "Sorry, bro, I'm taking your job in live action"? What a terrible move that would be. Total jerk move, man.
Already in Star Wars.
Come on, man.
What do you guys think of Natasha Liu Bordizzo as Sabine Wren?
oh,
Haven't seen enough of her yet.
yeah,
but
the same. That's
I'm on the same boat. Yeah.
What
I've
has
seen it.
she? What has she appeared in? What has she been in?
That's a great question. I don't know. I've
Well,
never
maybe
heard
that's
of
a
her
good
before.
thing because sometimes when you don't know the actor, they surprise you and they give a great performance because you're not expecting something they've been in previously to like deliver the same performance. So it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
It's interesting that they pick a couple of actors who are voice actors to be the live action characters,
Yeah.
but others they're like, no, let's use somebody else. Like to me, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, like as soon as I heard she was Hera, I was like, oh heck yeah, that'd be awesome, that'll be perfect. But then I saw Natasha's name come up, and I was like, she'll be great, I'm sure. I'm sure it'll be really fun. But are you guys looking forward to this show as like a samurai thing, or what are you expecting out of Ahsoka?
I mean, I don't know if she's just like chasing Thrawn in it or what exactly. I don't really get a samurai vibe from it, from the trailer at least.
There's a lot of lightsabers though, for sure.
I mean, yeah, but that doesn't automatically mean, oh, this is a samurai story,
Very true.
It's just like, okay, people do have light swords and they're gonna be clashing here and there. But I mean, yeah, it's like, it seems like she'll reunite with the gang from Rebels, and then they're going up against Thrawn. Who knows? We may run into Ezra, and then also,
Well, I think that's what I think she's trying. I'm guessing she's probably trying to find Thrawn so she can find Ezra.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Well,
That's what
what about Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character? That he was a
Yeah.
Jedi too.
He was.
That would be not
Kanan?
well. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Spoiler
Oh,
alert
no.
for Rebels.
You're gonna split. Oh, let me take off my headset for a quick second. Go ahead.
If he shows
Oh,
up,
he got murked. He
got
blew
murked.
up. Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, okay.
if he shows up, he might be up. Kevin.
All right.
Force
No
goes back on.
spoilers
Yeah,
here,
Force
right?
goes
All
to-
right. Very good. No spoilers.
Yeah, but it'll be great when you listen back to this and you find.
I
we
know.
spoil it for you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to edit. Edit very
Dare
carefully.
you? Or just shut my ears as tight as I can when I'm listening.
Yeah.
Just watch the season 3 finale and you'll know what's up.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I think it's so far away. It's like 40 episodes for me.
I know.
Dang it.
It took me months.
Now,
Yeah.
also, another thing I wanted to point out was the lightsabers from the. I think they're Inquisitors, right? In this show, they don't look like they're red. They kind of have like a tint of orange in them. I don't know if you guys noticed that too.
Yeah. One of them has orange. I don't
Someone
know about-
stated that, and I think they were alluding that character was like of something of Jedi lore. I don't remember what it is per se, but like I was like, oh, okay. But I do like the actor they got, Ray
Stevenson.
Stevenson. Yes,
He
he's
looks
great.
really good. He's pulling off that white beard and white hair
Yeah.
really nicely.
It looks cool.
Yeah, he's and I think the girl who has the orange lightsaber, I think she's his like apprentice, I guess.
That seems like the case.
yeah.
I mean,
So-
you got to have like a Sith type in their apprentice.
Well, I mean, are they
against
sisters?
Ahsoka.
We don't know. I mean, they're
That's-
probably still
ooh.
sisters around or something
maybe-
like that.
Maybe not the guy with the beard though.
No. He seemed like.
My sister. They're
Well,
just
no,
each
there were
other's
guy sisters, or were they called brothers?
They're
I
called
don't know.
brothers. I
Brothers.
think.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
You fool!
Like
You
third-
must
Hey,
have-
anybody
third
could be
brother-
a sister or a brother.
Third brother, fifth sister, yeah, that kind of thing.
Man, how many brothers and sisters you need before they all die? Huh? What's going on there? Okay, well, listen, that's basically all that we got from the Ahsoka trailer here. Although that was a lot of information that we received from
Yeah,
them.
I'll just end with I think it looks really good. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
it
glad
looks
they brought
promising.
almost everybody from Rebels back. Well, we've seen Zeb now in Mandalorian now, so they
Yep.
pretty much got almost everybody transferred over to live action. But everybody looks great. It looks like it could be fun. I don't know. We'll see.
And also, I can't help but feel that Ahsoka, the series, is going to end in like a cliffhanger just because we know that they're going to do like a big Mandalorian Ahsoka movie kind of thing, which we'll talk about later today. But next up here, we got Skeleton Crew series was, I think they saw a trailer or something. This comes to us from Movie Phone. It better be all true, Movie Phone. Hold on, let me see what it says. It says,
Where are
further
you
out,
getting these sources from?
Movie Phone!
No,
I didn't even know movie phones
Why
was still
movie-
around.
Why movie phone?
Movie
Are there
phone
any-
guy.
Movie Phone!
Are there
At
any other
7 p.m.
sources? Are there any other sources you could have found?
Listen, this gave us some good stuff, all right? Listen, just listen to this. We got Further Out as Skeleton Crew, which was created and is run by recent Spider-Man trilogy filmmaker John Watts alongside Spider-Man Homecoming collaborator Christopher Ford. The pair have come up with a series set around the same time as The Mandalorian, which follows the journey of 4 kids who make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet, then get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. Finding their way home and meeting unlikely allies and enemies will be a greater adventure than they ever imagined. Jude Law stars alongside younger actors Ravi Cabot Conyers, man, that is a fun name, Kiriana Clatter, and Robert Timothy Smith, and Ryan Kira Armstrong. There's no word yet on when the show will land on Disney+. IGN sources posted an image inside Star Wars Celebration showing all the directors involved for each episode. Directors include John Watts, David Lowery, the Daniel brothers, Jake Schreier, Bryce Dallas Howard, and Lee Isaac Chung. Now, the Daniel brothers, those are the guys who made Everything Everywhere All at Once, isn't it?
That is correct. Yep.
Yep.
They just won the Oscar.
What a complete
Oscar
win,
winners, the Daniel brothers.
man. Ted, how do you feel about all this?
I think, like we were saying before, anything that's not attached directly to other Star Wars properties is like, yeah, let's get something new in here. So I'm excited.
Dude, Jude Law is just working too, man. That guy's getting everything.
I love Jude Law. He's great.
Yeah.
Although I will say this, I hope the kids are Goonies age,
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
anything older than that, I don't care about teenagers. I'm gonna get annoyed with their angsty, like, oh man, my lightsaber doesn't work. Oh, it's something stupid, dumb like that.
We gotta
But-
listen to this old man. Come on.
But if it's like little kids running a ship, that'd be cool. That'd be fun to see. Like
last year I
like
remember.
Stand By Me, but in space.
Last year I remember when they announced this project for the first time, they basically kind of described it as like it's having the vibe of like Amblin, like early Spielberg, and I think they
Okay.
specifically mentioned Goonies, like Goonies in the Star Wars universe, which
Oh, all right.
I really latched onto that. I thought that was it's different, it's new, so I'm still excited about this because, again, yeah, I like the uniqueness of it being something akin to early Spielberg, Amblin, all that kind of stuff in Star Wars.
Will we get another ET cameo from
Yes.
from the prequels
Oh,
too?
should.
Like in this, all the ETs in the Senate chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. There's your crossover right there.
We gotta do that with like Steven
another
Spielberg dressed up as another alien next to it. I think
Yeah,
that'd be-
guys. This is Bruce.
It's just Steven with a lisp. What's up, guys? I'm Steven.
Little known fact, he's related to Ben Mendelsohn. You guys didn't realize?
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn.
This is my friend Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, I'm excited. Although, the audience there got a trailer, right? So they showed them a trailer.
Yes, the audience got a trailer, but we did not, sadly.
Man,
I
oh,
want to
come
see one
on.
so badly.
I mean, they usually release it like 2 to 3 months after the thing anyway.
3
It's
months.
gonna take
so long.
forever.
Why would you say that, Chad?
They gotta change stuff if the crowd didn't act the way they wanted. They're like, oh, they didn't really. They want a Queen song in the trailer. Let's put that in there.
But it's also interesting to note that this project takes place in the Mandalorian timeline. So again, when we go back to our chart of timeline stuff, it goes after the New Rebellion begins.
this era, this Mandalorian, I'm just gonna call it the Mandalorian era, getting pretty full. Getting pretty full. Like it's just like everything's stacked on top of each other, and we'll see. Everything's starting to get more spread out now with the other projects they've said, but it's like this one is yet another thing in the Mandalorian timeline. It's just I just noticed it a lot this time, seeing them announce that, and I'm like, man, this is so stacked, this era.
But off of that, what's going to be more I don't know if it'd be more confusing or not, but I kept hearing in the news the Mandalorian is like going to be more of an anthology of Mandalorians, like, so it won't follow Din Djarin that long. It'll like jump to maybe Bo-Katan or somebody else in the clan, and I was like, that's interesting. Like, so I'm not just seeing baby Grogu all the time and stuff, because it's like he's cute, but it's like let's move the story. Let's go.
That's what's been interesting. Like my complaints about the season so far, like season 3 of Mando, is that it's not about him, and they keep shifting to other people or setting up other storylines. Is like, and same with Boba Fett. It was like, is this the book of Boba Fett, or is this the book of setting up other shit? You know, it's like, let's focus on them. And then I like the idea of it being an anthology series, but like as of right now, it's just been him and Baby Yoda, because I guess the merchandise, but like they really shot themselves in the foot this season by, you know, having the resolution of them being separate in Boba Fett. You know, it's like you could have, I don't know.
And that's one of the I still haven't seen season 3, but that is one of the criticisms I've been hearing, is that it's just the focus is kind of shifting to a different area, and it's just kind of, it's jarring.
Yeah.
Din Djarin?
It's Din Djarin.
Thank you. I'll see myself out.
There we go.
I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something.
Skeleton Crew. We're talking about Skeleton Crew.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I guess we have nothing else to say, because we just diverted to a Mandalorian conversation.
Well, let me just go back to Mandalorian one more time, and then I'll say something about Skeleton Crew. I think the problem with Mandalorian season 3 is that they advertised it as this thing about him, Din Djarin, trying to find the waters of Mandalore, and I mean, everything that the trailer set up happens in 2 episodes, and now we have 4 or 5 other episodes now that we have to be like, okay, now what happens? So that's currently been the problem with it, in my opinion. But now going back to Skeleton Crew, I hope this show is good, because I don't know, it's always hard to see a Disney show hype us up with all this Star Wars stuff, and then we watch it all the way through and we're all disappointed. So, you know, it's been happening a lot with the Obi-Wan series. It's happened with the Boba Fett series. Those are 2 characters that should have been like rocking it in these seasons, you know? And instead we got something that we didn't expect to want or to see and not want. You guys know what I'm saying.
Something we didn't like. We got something for the most part.
Right. I think it's going back to what one of you guys said earlier today, was the fact that they're new characters. We don't know any of these guys. They're hopefully going to interact with characters we don't know. They're in planets we don't know about. It'll be a fun Star Wars universe story, hopefully like the Goonies. That would be really cool.
They better not find a book that says, long ago there was a guy named Luke Skywalker. I'm like, get the hell out of here.
Skywalker.
Get out of here.
All right, well then let's talk about
find One-Eyed Luke's treasure.
the One-Eyed Luke's
I mean, I'm not against that. I'm not against it.
Well, let's jump onto the Acolyte project. This article, this is also Movie Phone, but it's also Polygon. Don't worry, there's more info. I wanted to try to get as much information about this project as possible, just because every time I hear about the Acolyte, I don't know anything other than, oh, it's gonna be a Sith type of show. Okay, that's all I get. All right. So here's some articles I picked up that could give us a little bit more detail. This comes to us from the Movie Phone. The Acolyte promises to take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. High Republic era. Okay, so that's our timeline for this project. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but discovers the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. The show stars Amandla Amandla? That's a great first name. The show stars Amandla Stenberg, Lee Jung-jae, Manny Jacinto, Daphne Keane, Charlie Barnett, Jodie Turner-Smith, Rebecca Henderson, Dean Charles Chapman, Carrie Ann Moss, Margarita Leviva, they made that name up, and Star Wars Wookiee veteran Junis Suotamo, who plays another Wookiee, a Jedi named Kelnica. All right.
Great cold read.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Let's all agree that nobody knows what any of those names are, like who those people are, because clearly these are all new actors that they've brought into this project.
Carrie Ann Moss.
Daphne Keane.
that's
Keane.
true.
Margarita Leviva. Come on, that's not.
No,
that's
but
not a real name.
Daphne Keane was in Logan. She's
Wait,
the little girl.
Oh my
Guy from
God!
Squid Game. Yeah. Squid
And
Game.
then then Lee Jung-jae is from Squid Game.
Okay, all right. Well, let me continue on with these articles then. Now that you've got me. Now I'm hyped again. This comes to us from Polygon. The High Republic is Star Wars' newest time period, and up until now, we've only really gotten to explore it through books. Thankfully, the first look at Star Wars: The Acolyte, a crime series set towards the end of the Republic's brightest days during Star Wars Celebration 2023, is here to fix that. This first look also revealed that The Acolyte is set for release in 2024 and will stream on Disney+. Creator Leslie Headland, the director of Russian Doll, and the series cast introduced some footage from the show for the convention audience, which foregrounded the lots of Jedi that Headland said was one of the most attractive features of the High Republic era for her as a creator. The footage also emphasized the Acolyte's wuxia-style martial arts combat, reminiscent of films like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. One crowd-pleasing shot had 7 Jedi, led by Lee Jung-jae's character, unsheathing their lightsabers in unison. Headland said that in designing the show, she had gone back to George Lucas's original inspirations for Star Wars, including Akira Kurosawa's The Hidden Fortress and Yojimbo, but also classic Shaw Brothers kung fu movies like Come Drink With Me and Touch of Zen. I mean, come on, that sounds so cool.
I like that. I like that they went. I like that they went to not that everybody who does a Star Wars project needs to do exactly what George Lucas did for the original trilogy, but I do like that they kind of they did go back and look through those kind of inspirations that inspired George and the Kurosawa stuff. Like I don't know. That gets me excited.
Dude, if the Ahsoka series is a samurai show, this show's gonna blow it out of the water. So I don't know why they're doing an Ahsoka series now, if that's the case.
The fact that they're calling it a crime series show,
that's
confuses
cool.
me.
That's really cool, though.
Well, no, because if they're doing it like it's either going to be a samurai type of show or it's going to be a crime series. In my head is like, oh, these crooks are scheming some plot of some kind,
like True Detective, but
we're following them instead of the heroes.
It's going to be both, Chad, and it's going to be something new that you've never seen before, and you're going to eat your words.
Oh, yeah.
That's a cool combination, though. I mean, who wouldn't want to see, like, True Detective, but with samurai swords?
I mean, that would be
cool.
But, no, I'm just going to stay skeptical with it because,
sure. I mean, we know nothing more about it.
I will say this, I do want to watch The Hidden Fortress now because I haven't seen that Kurosawa film yet, but I have seen Yojimbo.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, Yojimbo.
The full series?
Yeah, I've seen Yojimbo. I've seen The Seven Samurai. I've seen.
Well, no, there's more than one. I think Yojimbo movie though.
With anything with Mifune, I've seen for the most part.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I haven't seen The Hidden Fortress, and it does sound really cool. But just the idea of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You guys remember that movie? They were like flying off in trees and punching each other up in the air like Super Saiyans. Like that sounds incredible. If you're gonna do like a Kingdom Hearts fighting style with lightsaber, come on.
Part of me is like, well, that would. I don't. Yeah, I don't know how that would look with lightsabers though. That's because if they're just floating off the ground, like walking over water. I mean, I don't know. That's just.
Did you ever
doesn't fit.
Did you ever see Knights of the Old Republic cutscenes?
Yeah,
an old PC game, right? I mean,
yeah.
Every time they do cutscenes in that show or in that game, it literally looks like what they're describing here. So
I'd have to disagree. The fighting in Crouching Tiger and Dragon, at least in the fantastical parts of like walking across the treetops, like that's what I think of Crouching Tiger and Dragon. But if the dojo scene, like that's different. That's like a more fight that I can see them doing with the lightsabers.
It all comes down to execution, right?
Yeah,
I mean these concepts, you can think of them, and on paper maybe they don't seem like they would fit, but hopefully the directors, the showrunners are able to bring that into fruition and execute it in a way where it just works. So yeah,
I think before this past weekend, I'd had no cares for the Acolyte. I thought it was interesting, the idea of a dark side kind of story, but now that I know this is what we're getting, now I'm like, that's at the top of my list.
They for a while they kept saying Sith focus, but from what I'm hearing, it's about a bunch of Jedi.
Yeah, that's what I'm gathering.
A bunch of Jedi investigating some menacing thing, you know what I mean? But it just, from what I was thinking was that we're going to focus on Sith characters from their point of view. But now with this new information, it sounds like we're focusing on we're focusing on the Jedi.
Yeah,
it could be that the focus is on the Sith characters, like they're the main characters, but like the Jedi are like the police in this investigation crime scene that are trying to catch the culprit, which is our main character. It could be something like that.
The Jedi are all Tommy Lee Jones, and
they're
the
all
Sith,
Tommy Lee Jones and Willem Dafoe.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Foe.
I didn't kill my wife.
I didn't kill
Who's
my
this?
wife.
Who's this Jedi coming after me? Okay, I want him dead. I want his whole Jedi order dead.
Oh, then yeah, we'll bring in De Niro as the.
If De Niro came up as a Star Wars villain, as a Sith Lord, I would just cry. That would be hilarious.
A little bit of power. A little bit.
You talking to me? Hold on. He just starts using the Force.
Shoots lightning.
Join the dark side. Join the dark side. It's better. I'm just saying it's better. All right?
Oh, man.
You want to strike me down?
How about I strike you down, huh? You want to strike me down?
Dead. Just everyone dies. Robert De Niro's the villain. You're all dead. I want them all dead in the family.
Although, did you see the fight scenes in his latest one? Was it The Irishman? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where the guy really had to do the work of throwing himself around because he was a little too old to be pulling that off.
But he looks so young. It's all good. Do you think Robert De Niro would ever play a Sith Lord? Be honest.
Probably not.
No.
I think there's more of a chance, like Al Pacino could, if but I doubt it though. I highly doubt that. He'd just be sitting in a chair, just going, there's.
Well, I don't know. Robert
Jedi. Get it.
Robert De Niro was. Robert De Niro was in that god awful Rocky and Bullwinkle movie in 2000. So who knows nowadays?
Well, it depends on if he wants to fundraise money for his organizations.
Chad, what would a Christopher Walken Sith Lord sound like?
A Sith Lord? I need to get these Jedi.
Lots of times they're running around, waving their swords, but I got some for them. It's a neutron bomb that I made. I don't know.
That was beautiful.
That
was beautiful, Chad. Thank you for that.
In the Star Wars universe.
Improv.
There you go.
Improv. Yes. Well, then I think those are actually all the shows that were announced over the weekend. There are some other ones. We'll do some last-minute ones at the end of this episode, but we got to get to some bigger stuff here, which are the 3 main Star Wars movies that we got to discuss.
Woof.
First one. Woof indeed, my friend. First one being the Daisy Ridley returning for her new Rey Skywalker film. Go on, Chad. Tell me how you really feel, Chad.
They're backtracking on how the last one ended, where she buried the lightsaber. Sorry, my language. Sorry, bleep it out.
We were so close.
Sorry.
So close. Well, before you keep going, Chad.
I love the passion.
Before you could go on, Chad, let's read this article from Polygon, not from Movie Phone today. Daisy Ridley will reprise her role as Rey Skywalker in a new Star Wars movie set 15 years after the event of Lucasfilm's sequel trilogy. The new post-episode 9 Star Wars movie will be set in an unexplored era called the New Jedi Order, and Rey will be tasked with rebuilding the all-but-extinct Jedi. Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy revealed that the new Star Wars movie, one of the 3 newly announced theatrical Star Wars projects at Star Wars Celebration 2023 in London on Friday. Director Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy, the director for Miss Marvel, is helming the sequel to Rise of Skywalker based on a script from Stephen Knight, the guy who writes Peaky Blinders. Obaid Chinoy was previously attached to direct a script from screenwriters Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson, but those two left the project earlier this year. Details on Star Wars' first New Jedi Order era movie are scant, but Rey is set to establish a new Jedi Academy and train a group of fresh recruits in the film. Lucasfilm did not announce a release date or any additional casting beyond Ridley. All right, Chad, go on. What else did you want to let us know?
Well, it's just like she buried the lightsaber and seemed up like she was walking away from the Force. So it's like, what, is she gonna come back and dig it up and be like, hey, I feel like starting it up again. And I guarantee, like, one of the first scenes is like, who are you? And she'll turn to the camera and just go, Rey Skywalker. And I'll just...
Rey Skywalker.
Rey Palpatine. Yeah.
Ah, damn it.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Sorry, I'm just getting used to my new last name. Yes.
Palpawalker. Crap. No.
Oh, shit.
Okay, this is episode 10. Give me a
Is
break.
it though?
This is episode 10. They don't want to call it episode 10. I'm sorry, Chad. I didn't mean to.
Oh, no. Go.
Yeah, no, this is... I thought we were trying to get away from this stuff. I thought we're expanding different places and different areas, and suddenly we're finding out we're gonna follow Rey. And let me just say really quick, the sequel trilogy has had its very fair share of issues. Daisy Ridley was not one of them for me. I thought she was charming. I like her too.
Yeah.
I had no problems with her. I had problems with other things in the.
It was all the writing that.
It was the right.
Supported her. Yeah.
I really, in general, the cast, all the acting, everybody. I mean, I had no problem with any of them. It was like you said, Ted, all the writing and the back and forth, and nobody really having a plan for the overall trilogy. But Daisy Ridley was definitely not one of the issues for me. I thought she was a great standout.
Agreed.
So I'm happy to see that she's coming back as Rey, but at the same time, I thought we were trying to get away from this. And, everybody's like, well, this is the end. This is the end of the Skywalker saga, right? And in a way that's true, but this is basically a sequel to that. Rey ended the Rise of Skywalker. We ended with Rey, and now we're going to pick up her story again. So even though we're not in the Skywalker saga anymore, although she calls herself Skywalker now, so technically I guess we are, but we're still picking up her story. This is a sequel to Rise of Skywalker. Thus, I mean, it's an episode 10, but they don't want to call it an episode 10.
Ted, what do you think, my guy?
When I was a kid, it was like they just had the 3 on VHS. That was all you could watch.
Simpler times.
The prequels, and everyone was like, yeah. And then it was like, oh, what the hell was that? And then we hated the prequels. And then, the Clone Wars series came out in this interim where we had nothing on the horizon. And Clone Wars kind of lifted it up. And I feel like, I look back at the prequels now with a lot less disdain than I used to.
Same.
I
think there are characters within that it's proven by Filoni that if you have a good story to tell, there's something to see there. The new trilogy, I don't feel that way, and I don't know if in 10 years my opinion will change, but I think just based on the Mandalorian season 3, it seems like they were like, hey, Filoni, can you do what you did for the prequel trilogy for the new one? They're trying to already tap into making the cloning thing with Snoke work out, and Palpatine really was behind it the whole time. It just seemed out of nowhere, and
somehow
just pulled it out of his ass. It's just so I don't know. I hope that I would love to see that happen, but right now the sequel trilogy is just I would love to just move on and focus on something else and not touch it, because it just seems like a casualty of bad writing.
I'd say that I came from the generation that started with episodes 1, 2, and 3, and
I'm sorry.
I don't like sand. Well, listen, I don't. It's weird enough. I don't like sand, but I did like the trilogy of the prequel series, the prequel trilogy. I enjoyed it, and I grew up loving it. And when I got to maybe middle school or high school, and I started hearing older kids saying, "Oh man, these movies suck," I remember thinking, what? Is that how everybody feels about this stuff? So it only goes to show that maybe the younger generation of kids that grew up watching this new trilogy love Rey Skywalker and they love the idea of her. And now that we're hearing a new movie for this character, those kids who are probably like preteens now are like, oh my God, Rey's coming back. Yes, let's go.
And then they will be disappointed by those movies.
They'll be disappointed by the next trilogy, and then the cycle will continue.
It's almost a
the
rite.
way I remember.
It's almost a rite of passage, isn't it? Like each generation that gets into Star Wars at one point has that period where they're sorely disappointed by something, right?
Yeah,
it's a rite of passage.
Look at Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor was so depressed after he did episode 1, 2, and 3 because he thought everybody hated him and the whole prequel trilogy. And now that he's went on and did the Obi-Wan series, he's going up in interviews telling people how surprised he is that all the fans that grew up watching his movies adore him and his prequel trilogy. So, I'm sure Daisy Ridley's going to get the same amount of love from those fans as well. She's getting it from me because, again, as we all just mentioned, we love Daisy Ridley. Like we don't hate the actress, we don't hate the character itself. We hate the writing that made these characters the way they were by the end of this trilogy. However, I love the idea that Stephen Knight is going to be writing this because I don't know if you guys have seen Peaky Blinders. That show is incredible. It's like Succession level great. So I'm
Pretty good things.
To me, if you give me Rey Skywalker again, sure, maybe our first initial reaction is going to be, ugh. But then we see Peaky Blinders, and if they write this character really well, thanks to this Stephen Knight person, I think we have something really good to look forward to. And I think this is more of an exciting thing to me now than it is oh, here we go again kind of attitude. I just want Rian Johnson to stay away from it. That's all I want.
JJ, get out of here.
Get rid of JJ, get rid of Rian Johnson. They've done their time. They're done. Move on.
I did hear a rumor of possibly the school she starts, they're going to have a teenage Grogu being training with her. And cool. Part of me, I was like, I don't want to see that. But also, if they were flipping it around and then Grogu turns evil and kills Rey, I was like, oh, that's a twist. That's a twist.
Well, that's what I was alluding to when you mentioned Yuuzhan Vong. I was alluding to hopefully we'll start cherry picking some legend stuff for this new Jedi Order. Instead of Luke, it's Rey forming the new Jedi Order, and we could very well see a Yuuzhan Vong possibly farther down the lines. That would be cool. That way we could get to a new threat rather than just the Empire in different forms coming back.
No, definitely. I think she's a great actress, and I hope these movies do well for her. So
I guess Grogu would be like 85 or something like that, right? Because doesn't the beginning of Episode 7 take place like 30 years after, or is it 40 years after the events of Episode 6?
I want to say 40, possibly.
I was gonna say 30.
30? So I'm just trying to do the math here because Grogu is 50 in Episode 6, basically, in that timeline. So 30 years later, now he's 80. Then 15 years more after the events of the new trilogy.
I mean, he'd be older than her, really.
So he'd be 95 years old. And
if he still doesn't talk, I'm going to be mad. I was like, when does this race start speaking?
My God. Well, but also we don't know if he's going to stay as a Mandalorian. So that's another thing. He might be a little Grogu baby Mando type, and have his armor all set.
I have a question that I want to pose to the group here because I've been hearing speculation about certain things of the behind the scenes of this movie, because this announcement kind of caught a lot of people off guard. It came out of the blue, like, oh, Rey Skywalker coming back, and a lot of people speculating about, well, why did
Ted is showing us a picture of baby Grogu with his Mando armor, and he looks pretty dapper, pretty dang dapper. Oh, Everybody should Google
funny.
it.
That's somebody photoshopped that, right? Yeah.
It's probably AI. Yeah.
Probably some kind of AI. So the question being, why do we think Damon Lindelof maybe left the project? And wondering, is it possible maybe this movie started as one thing and maybe not involving Rey? and then maybe and this is part of the speculation that I've heard that got me thinking. So I don't this isn't anything solid.
You want to know
the
something?
speculation is that what if this started out as being something that wasn't involved without Rey being involved, and then someone stepped in and said, well, let's make it Rey. And then maybe Damon Lindelof was like, well, that's not the story I wanted to make. So if you're going to have, well, make it Rey anyway. Well, then I'm leaving. Thoughts? I don't know.
I think we're making assumptions in our heads of
It's
what
not,
it could
I'm
be.
speculating. It's
Yeah,
just,
because it's complete speculation. But
speculation that I've heard from other people.
Here's my speculation is that once Bob Chapek left and Bob Iger came in to take over Disney, maybe new ideas came to hand, and maybe that's what they decided on. Because again, we can't know for sure.
Sure.
But we do know that Kathleen Kennedy is 100% known for firing writers and directors like a bunch before a project is ready to go. I hope this is the last time we get to see that. But this was something that I don't think we heard about them being on and off this project at all, because, you know, this just came up now. So they're like, okay, by the way, but we're going to announce something new. And as soon as we announce it, just want you to know we had other writers. We already got rid of them. We don't even want to deal with that later. We're not going to fire Stephen Knight. Fingers crossed. Please, baby Jesus, don't fire Stephen Knight. That would be incredible if they just kept him, because I think he's going to do a good job. Hopefully they just took care of business right from the get-go.
We'll need a lot of subtitles, though.
We will need a lot of subtitles. That's very true. It's very...
I watch everything with subtitles.
Yeah.
I do too.
Me too. Yeah, exactly. We're old people, right?
I like to know what's going on. I can see the characters' names.
I don't like it when they whisper. When they whisper, I don't hear what they
A
say.
lot of movies and TV shows nowadays, like the sound mix, I don't know. Sometimes
Well, no, it's just
not
because-
mixed very well. And
Peaky Blinders, their accents are so heavy.
well, yeah,
you don't know
I got
how
that.
to
Yeah,
say-
I got the.
Yeah.
the
But is that the
accent.
writer or is that the director? Because I don't think that's a Stephen Knight thing.
No, I was
wait.
just
Oh,
making
wait.
a joke because, you know.
He was, yeah,
Although
worked on
I
the
think
show.
Stephen Knight is the director as well, isn't he?
of Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, now I'm gonna
Showrunner?
Google it. Hold on.
If anything, they should cast Cillian Murphy as the bad guy in Ray's movie.
It would be good.
Ooh.
That'd be good.
I'd like to see Cillian Murphy in a Star Wars movie. Actually,
Definitely.
as,
He would be
as
great.
a Sith Lord or something like that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or just like an alien, you know, I forget what the like rogue company is, because there's Sith, there's Jedi, and then there's like this space pirate, you know, whatever that group is
Yeah.
called of, you know.
Also,
yeah, like,
Stephen
Stephen
Knight.
smuggler, bounty hunter,
Yeah.
something.
Just a quick thing: Stephen Knight was not the director of the show, but he was the showrunner, which is a pretty big deal. for-
Right.
I guess
That's
showrunner and
basically
writer. Yeah.
for a show. That's basically a director.
Pretty much, yeah, essentially. So it is his call for characters sounding muffly. With a British accent, so they all talk like that. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Well then, gentlemen, any last thoughts on this one before we move on to our second movie?
No, just this of the three, I'd say this is the one I'm looking forward to the least.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready for new stuff, and I feel like this is dipping back into the familiar. You know, but I don't know. We'll see as more info comes out about it. But it is of the three, I'm the least excited about it.
Weirdly enough, this is second on my list for some reason. Our next topic here is last on my list, and we will discuss it very soon. We got the Dave Filoni to direct a Star Wars movie. This comes to us from MovieWeb. Filoni's film will serve as a culmination of The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka, showcasing the war between the Imperial Remnant and the New Republic. That's all the quote had to say, which I think we already talked about this earlier, that it's going to be versus Thrawn and whatnot. The reason why this is on the end of my list is because I just feel like they're copying the Avengers. I feel like they're just trying it because they're like, oh, if it worked for Marvel, we should do it too. It better be good. I mean, I don't know. We already disliked Boba Fett. We're kind of disliking Mandalorian season 3 right now, which is kind of sad. Like, I'm enjoying it, but it's just not as good as the first 2 seasons, you know? Ahsoka, I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really judge that until, you know, it comes out. But I'm just kind of hoping it ends up really cool. Not to mention, this is his first ever film that he's ever going to direct. Man, super lucky bastard gets to direct a Star Wars movie first. Can you believe that? So I'm
well,
hoping
he worked his way up. I mean,
he
he
did work his
started
way up.
the animation, show ran Clone Wars Rebels, and then he kind of transitioned over to live action, but under the tutelage of Jon Favreau with the Mandalorian and stuff, and continuing to do stuff in the Mandalorian verse. I mean, I think it makes sense that now it's just like he's taken the baby steps, So now he's directing a live action.
Aren't some of the episodes of Mandalorian like almost feature length? I don't know per se. All of them are, but
some are pretty long. But I thought
close to
like 50 minutes.
60 minutes.
Yeah,
close to it.
I thought you were going to ask, aren't some of the episodes of The Mandalorian directed by Dave Filoni?
Well,
Which
yeah, there
some of them
were
are.
a couple. Yeah.
So he's been cutting his teeth on live action directing already.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say they're not. This move reminds me less of the MCU and more of WB's fray of their Final Crisis TV movie event that they did with all their TV shows. where they
Crisis on
crossed-
Infinite Earth.
Yes, yeah. So I think this is kind of in that area, but at least this movie is gonna probably get to theaters instead of just being on streaming or something. So.
Yeah, this is the crossover won't be just like an episodic special. The crossover will be a feature film, a theatrical feature film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the culmination of all this, the MandoVerse, I guess, right? Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka.
Or the Filoni-verse.
Does that mean we'll get some skeleton crew in there too, since that's supposed to be around the same time period? I don't know.
Maybe
not.
I mean,
Maybe not necessarily. Skeleton crew could very well be its own separate thing.
Well, yeah, you don't want to. That's the problem with having things exist in the same time. Producers may or may not push. Well, this should be in here somewhere or make an appearance because we want it to stay relevant. We want it to be, a part of the universe, and people are gonna wonder about this. So let's throw it in there. Let's not worry about if it makes sense or not.
Yeah.
And they're guilty of that, because they like we gotta have that one cameo from the little guy. The little guy shows up.
The Ugnaught?
I mean, yeah, the Ugnaught.
Bring the Ugnaught in here. And he's got to be voiced by Danny DeVito.
I have spoken.
I'm the trash man.
The trash man. Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna wait and see how Ahsoka does, and if the hype really does build up throughout that show, maybe then I'll bump up this movie to number 2 for me.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'm just kind of like I'm trying to breathe easy around this film.
There's still so much they have to build up to. It seems like. I mean, we still got some Mando. Like season 3, Jon Favreau has already said he's worked on season 4. Season 4 is either being written or has been written already.
And there's a time jump for season 4. It's not going to be.
Oh,
really?
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be like, I forget how. It's going to be closer to the 7th movie.
I see. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Awakens. Okay. So we got that. We got Ahsoka. We don't know if that'll set up anything further, if there will be a season 2 of that. But then I don't know what's happening with Boba Fett. I don't know if there'll be a season 2 of Boba Fett, but he'll probably come back. Yeah. They'll probably end up just popping him into other things.
Just turn him into a bounty hunter again, and then it'll be good.
But they still have some setup because we don't know what this culmination, this film is. Like, what are we building towards that this film needs to justifiably exist? So, and we still don't know any of that yet. We don't have any kind of inkling of like, well, how can this story all come together with all these different shows? So I feel like they still have a lot of setting up to do, and I don't know when this movie is coming out, but I know one of the movies they have kind of on the docket, like a date, is like sometime in 2029. So I don't know if
people are still interested.
If people are still
right.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's so long from now. My God.
I think one in like 2025, another in 2026 or 27, and then one in 2029.
That's not a real year.
I thought I heard that they're trying to like the Mando and Grogu story will end with this movie. So there's only one way it can end. Mando's dying.
The way.
Of course.
I mean, listen, we all know that eventually Pedro Pascal's character will die and then we're gonna have to have an adult Grogu in the future at some point, you know. And
Is it going to be like in Clone Wars where Grogu picks up Mando's helmet like Boba did his dad?
and then he becomes a warlord in Tatooine.
But he's like still talking like a toddler.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you. Like he just starts shooting people. He's got like a little baby Grogu gun. That'd be hilarious. He shoots it with the Force. Yeah, so I think, you know, again, I'll give this movie a shot. Like I'm not gonna say it's gonna be bad. I just, you know, I'm trying to keep my energy tempered, I suppose, with that one. But we do have another movie here, our third Star Wars film, which is James Mangold's Star Wars movie. Mangold, currently working with Lucasfilm on this year's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, will direct a film about the emergence of the Force and the first Jedi in a setting no less than 25,000 years before the events of the original movie trilogy. The name of the movie at the moment is said to be Star Wars: Dawn of the Force. Also, let me just make sure I'm not missing anything here. Nope, that's it. I was almost going to read into Indiana Jones, which is our surprise movie for the next thing here. But yes, Star Wars: Dawn of the Force. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, I don't. That's like, how is an egg made? Let's. You know, I don't really need to.
Do you feel like this is very much like in the same vein as the Solo movie, where people kind of made the argument of, I don't want to see Solo, his origin, like I just want to see the badass Han Solo already. Like I don't need to know how the magic is made, just, you know, give it to me. Do any of you guys feel that way, or do you think this is an interesting thing?
I mean, I think I would say I feel like that, because it's just like you're taking more of the mystery away from it. Plus, the way in this sequel trilogy that you introduce new, I mean, obviously people were saying, no, those powers existed before. I was like, okay, whatever, I don't care. But, you know, if you explain it, if you set it a certain way in this movie, then you can't add any new ability down the line, because you just set a precedent for how the Force works and stuff. So that's dangerous to do.
There's a fine line, that's for sure.
Yeah. So personally, I don't really care how it works. I mean, I find it interesting there can only be 2, but that doesn't make sense, because the Old Republic, there was like 50 Sith, you know? So it's, it's
like the are you talking about like the rule of the Sith kind of thing? Like,
well, yeah, the rule of the Sith, and I was like, obviously that works in the balancing of the Force. And I was like, okay, so...
Well, I don't think we'll see anything, because if this is the beginnings of it all, because the rule of the Sith comes way, way later.
Yeah, is it going to be like Naruto? He splits into 9, you know...
Language!
He's the sage of 6 paths, you know, like... Sorry.
No, I mean, I'm gonna be like pushing my glasses up, like, oh, the rule of 2 actually took place after the Old Republic, because that's when all the Sith killed each other and realized that they had to do 2 per Sith.
So there you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's the answer to that. But also, this kind of story reminds me a lot of Legend of Korra. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Legend of Korra before, but they had an episode that was the origin of the Avatar and how he came to gain all the power that he did and whatnot. And I found that so fascinating, because the world of Avatar finds a way to make it all about, like, you know, martial arts and chi and stuff like that. And I think when I hear that from Star Wars has a lot of like religious vibes to it, with Bushido way and, you know, the samurai and whatnot. So I think there's a really cool idea that's up my alley, at least in things that I'm interested in. That's why this one's on the top of my list, because I'm a nerd and I love that kind of stuff, man.
Why don't you read your books, nerd?
You know what? Maybe I will read my 3,500 Star Wars books, which I never...
Canonical.
Oh God. Truth be told, I tried to read one book about Bosk when I was in high school, and I fell asleep after 10 pages because I just couldn't do it. But Raul, how about you? How do you feel about all this?
This is the one I'm the most excited about, honestly.
Hey!
I want to see this. I know there's like the whole thing about like, yeah, you don't want to take the mystery away, but it is so different to me, the idea of we're going to see the origin of the Jedi, the Sith, the Force. it's just going to be such a different movie. And they've described it as like, what, an epic? Like a biblical epic. Kathleen Kennedy has gone on record to describe it as a biblical epic. And I don't know, that's just so fascinating to me. And not just that, but James Mangold is attached. And James Mangold is, you know, I've loved all the stuff, Ford v Ferrari, 310 to Yuma, Logan. I mean, I've loved all the stuff he's done, and I'm really hoping that Dial of Destiny is going to be good. We'll talk about my feelings on that trailer, but I'm really hoping it's going to be good. And I really just love the stuff that James Mangold has done. And if you know anything about James Mangold and how he operates, he's kind of his own guy. Like if you're going to get James Mangold to do a project for you, you better be prepared to let him kind of do his thing, because he likes to be the writer, the director. He likes to be kind of his own, creative force and not really let a lot of people interfere. And also, I mean, he's staying in the Lucasfilm family. So I'm hoping the fact that they've got him for this project means that they've seen something in Indy 5, possibly, that gives them the confidence to be like, okay, we like this guy. We like what he's done in Indy 5. Let's have him do this project. So just the idea that James Mangold is attached, that plus, I don't know, I want to see the origin of the Force. I want to see this, Star Wars universe thousands and thousands and thousands of years in the past, because that's just something we haven't seen before. What does that look like? I really want to see that.
Are there still lightsabers in the beginning? Or were they just they just had sticks and they fought each other with sticks?
Just floating rocks
Maybe
around.
we'll find out how they forged the lightsabers for the first time.
Maybe?
And then Puritans were like, witch! Hey, burn him! Burn the witch!
They would just toss kyber crystals at each other. They kind of like an old school slingshot. Like
they
David
burn a
Goliath.
lot.
They would sling, kyber crystals at people. That's how they would. That was pre lightsabers.
This is how I imagine the scene of the guy who discovers it, and he's got the Force, and he's talking to a friend. He's like, hey, you see that thing over there? Watch this. And he just pulls it to his hand. He's like, all right. He's like, we don't have to get up from our seats ever again.
Look what I discovered, bro.
Except instead of sounding like that, they'll be like, ooh,
oh yeah, is that how far we're going?
Yeah, that's how far we're going.
We're going. This is going to be the beginning, like the beginning scene of 2001: Space Odyssey.
It's just George Lucas. It zooms into his head, and then
it's the scalp of George Lucas 25,000 years ago.
I found it.
That'd be great. Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they're just throwing kyber crystals at each other.
That's kind of the way I've always envisioned it.
I do think that'd be really interesting, though, to see like the aliens of this current day and age, like what they looked like 25,000 years ago. Like, will Ewoks look different? Will Bosk's race of species look different as well? What about the Darth Maul types? Like, what are they going to look like back then? There's so much to explore, and I love that. Will Jesus be there?
Beard, like a Jesus Bosk bearded Bosk.
He turns. That's how he talks. He just hisses at everybody.
Because he's a lizard guy.
Yes. Oh, Jesus Bosk, tell us your ways. My God. I think this has really, really, really cool chance of being an incredible story. And again, something we've been saying over and over in this episode today is, the idea of timelines that are not in our Rebel era anymore. They can do whatever they want now. New characters, new planets, anything they want to show us that's brand new. I can't wait to see it. I swear to God, if there's like have you seen the prophecy? Yes, someone named Skywalker at the end of the movie, I'm gonna be like, come on, like.
They cast Christopher Lloyd in something?
Oh dear, great Scott!
Oh, have you seen the prophecy?
He is a Mandalorian.
They dug me up out of the grave. To make an appearance on Mando season 3.
I was a Mandalorian, now I'm in the DeLorean. I don't know what to do.
That part where I fell down the ground, I really did that. I didn't think.
That episode, it was definitely like, and I would have gotten away with it too.
One for you, Mandalorian kids. That's too good. I mean, listen, Mandalorian, as much as we've been crapping on season 3, it has given us some pretty cool little Easter eggs here and there. All I'll say is, Jack Black. Enough said. That's all. Sorry, Raul. Very big spoiler for you.
No, I've Jack Black, Lizzo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
Yeah. Chad is doing the thumbs down for all you listeners. So.
We'll see. I got to see it, and then I'll make my own judgments about it.
Well,
Phony.
well, then we got our final special last-minute movie that's not Star Wars related, but it is Lucasfilm. As we mentioned, it is Indiana Jones 5. Our new trailer came out for it. We got this from The Hollywood Reporter. Here's a quote. It says, littered in classic indie moments, the trailer and footage featured tuk-tuk races around dusty Moroccan streets, Jones riding a horse through a New York street parade and jumping out of a burning plane with Waller-Bridge, who describes him in the film as an aging grave robber, and a scene with a giant rolling boulder. Keeping the film series' ongoing Nazi theme alive, the story revolves around an ancient device being chased by both Jones and a villain played by Mads Mikkelsen, who says, Hitler made mistakes, and with this I will correct them all. Antonio Banderas also stars in Dial of Destiny. This is the first Indiana Jones feature not to be directed by Steven Spielberg, who helmed 4 installments: Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade, and The Crystal Skull. Dial of Destiny picks up with Indiana Jones at age 70. Ford is 80 in real life, and the film will acknowledge that this is an older, warier character. I wanted to follow Harrison's own lead and simply deal with it straight on, Mangold previously told The Hollywood Reporter. It's not just a movie about a hero in his twilight years who is called back into action. It's more than just that his bones might ache. It's that his soul might ache, or that some of his optimism or sense fitting into the world might have evaporated. So we're going to get an even more depressing Indiana Jones. How delightful is that? Raul, I want to hear your thoughts, because I know you mentioned you had some thoughts about all this.
It's very well on record that Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite film of all time. I love the Indy series, all 3 of them, and I am really I'm looking forward. Ever since I heard that James Mangold was taking over doing Indy 5, I've one of the things I'll say, the first trailer, I had certain issue. It looks fun. It looks like, but it just didn't feel like indie to me, because it didn't have that grit that I feel like an indie film usually has. And the 4th one definitely didn't have that. That was one of the reasons I had a problem with Crystal Skull. It just felt too clean and CGI-ish and whatever. And so I'm not feeling that with the trailers in this one, especially because I had it in my head that, well, James Mangold's directing it. He's done like Westerns. He's done Logan. I mean, those movies have like a gritty look to them, even just from a cinematography standpoint. So that was my thoughts on the first trailer. I'm still hoping it's going to be good. Second trailer, odd musical choices. The I was not expecting. So the trailer starts and then they play "Sympathy for the Devil," Rolling Stones, over it.
Yeah,
I that was an odd musical choice, and I don't know. I feel like if and then midway through the trailer they do like the mashup, right? They start to bring the indie theme into "Sympathy for the Devil," and it made it even worse for me. I was like, no, this does not fit at all. This is not a good mashup, if that's where you're trying to go. I think if I were to take the music out of it and just look at the imagery, it looks really fun, and it gets me excited just looking at what's. I just think they should have done something different with the music. Just give us the regular indie theme. Just give us the plain full-blown indie theme. Well, you don't gotta overthink it with the 60s music. I get it. It takes place in the 60s. Why do you gotta put Rolling Stones in there? It's just like, it's so jarring, because that's not what you think of when you think of indie, So it was just weird. It just caught me off guard, and I'm sure maybe with different music it would have worked better for me, but I don't know. I'm still holding out hope that it's going to be good. That was just really it. It was just the music.
Funny enough, I think Harrison Ford would also be like, why the hell are we listening to this Rolling Stones crap?
Yeah.
That's definitely what Indiana Jones would say.
He'd be lighting a doobie, though. Oh, man, this brings me back.
Yeah.
That's the devil's crap.
Remember my college days, high school days.
Ted, how about you? How do you feel about this new trailer?
You know, I'm there's this one shot that really bothers me that they keep using. It's where he rears up on this horse.
Yeah.
You know, and
Oh,
it's
it's
just
a
like
bad
the
CGI.
fakest face, like
Yeah.
like here I am. That's like the worst deep fake I've ever seen. Like
Even
they
the
gotta stop
de-aged,
using that shot.
the de-aged Harrison Ford shots look better than that shot.
Yeah, like I'm fine with those shots. It's just like they keep using it, and it's just like okay.
Just get rid of it in the trailer.
But I hope that this is good. Obviously, got burnt by the last one.
Right.
You know, the CGI monkeys with Shia, and then the fridge, the nuke, you know, surviving in a fridge, and then the UFOs. Like with UFOs, now it's a sci-fi. I just, you know, okay, let's stick to like what we know. Nazis, yes.
Yeah.
Like there's supernatural elements, but like not sci-fi. So I think that this seems like a return to form, and I hope it sticks the landing. But you know,
What
I'm
is
hurt, so guarded?
what is the MacGuffin in this? What is the Dial of Destiny?
I think
What
it's
do we
going to be time travel, and
Oh,
because that's why the guy's like, oh, I could fix Hitler's mistakes.
Right. Well, that makes sense, right? Time travel.
But also, it's from that trailer. It seemed like the way he's like, I've been looking for this all my life, and maybe he wants to fix something in his past. I'm not sure what exactly, but like what I see. I mean, I've been hearing inklings of like people who have seen the movie. They weren't great, but like I'm not gonna get my hopes up because like time travel can be wonky.
Yeah.
That's why I'm hoping like those scenes we saw in the past are just flashbacks and not them going back to do something.
Because now we're going back to sci-fi again rather than just like religious relics.
Yeah.
That's where it's strongest.
Exactly.
Those movies, it wasn't, you know, otherworldly. It was this world, and it's, you know, unleashing ancient evil or something. You know.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm worried because it's time travel, but also
time travel. Okay, now I'm not excited at all.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Plus,
I had no idea. Oh, that's what the dial is. Yeah.
Plus, the goddaughter situation. I thought she was the daughter of the British guy from the original trilogy.
Is he not? I thought so.
Apparently from that trailer, her dad is I forget the actor's name, but he's on the train who accidentally shoots Indy on the train.
Toby Jones' character?
Yes, Toby Jones. So Toby Jones is, unless he's playing another version of that character, like Marcus is the name of the character. But I don't know the name of his character in this. So this could be a completely new character, which I'm like, well, then there's no really nostalgic. Like, why is the god? You know,
I thought she was supposed to be Marcus's daughter. I don't know where I don't know why I thought that. Did I make that up or
no? Because she's British. And he's
yes, simply because she's British.
That's simply why, yeah.
That's what happens with British people.
Imagine Short Round taking off his cap, his baseball cap, and then putting on the Indy hat, and he becomes the new. I'm like,
55-year-old new Indiana Jones character.
Hey, he
Harrison Ford's in his 80s.
Do you guys think Hitler's mistake was that his paintings were all wrong, and that's why Matt Mikkelsen's gonna go back in time?
He's gonna go back and correct.
He's like A+.
He's like, if you just dab right here on the blue, your paintings will be perfect. Makes him stop the war. Like, the war is over. No World War II.
No one bought his paintings because they sucked.
No.
He could have been much richer.
So much richer. I will help him. Now, last question, though, is what do you guys think Antonio Banderas is doing in this movie? Like, what is the big
He
deal
has a
with him?
ship that gets him to the place where they need to go. He's like, Indy, I'm glad to see you, and then we'll take you to your destination. That'll be it.
And then you get the map with the boat traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're definitely gonna have the map scene. Yeah.
And Antonio Banderas gets to do it. What a great man.
Well, I mean, I would assume he might tag along for a bit. Maybe he'll get into a fight because I think they would use him in that sense because he does a lot of action stuff that he can be useful in a, brawl of some sort. So I don't know. We'll see if that comes into play.
I just, man, I hope it's good. I really do. It's hard. Like you said, Ted. I've been burned. I've been burned with Crystal Skull, and You know, Raiders is like my favorite movie of all time. So it holds a very special place in my heart. So I'm very nervous, but at the same time, I'm excited because I know it's James Mangold. But at the same time, I'm just holding my breath.
Raul, that's just the thing, man. You gotta have faith. You gotta have faith in James Mangold, all right? This man has made so many incredible movies. Okay, Logan, the Rush one, that's the
other one.
The other one, you know the ones.
Ford v Ferrari.
It's gonna be incredible.
He's a golden goose. That's why his last name.
I will say, Logan, like, that's, you know, him stepping into an existing property and giving us something totally new.
Yeah.
And so if that is a framework, then
Yeah.
I have faith.
Well,
in it.
It's a no-brainer that he's gonna end up doing a new Star Wars movie.
Well, he
for
also
that
did the
reason.
Wolverine. I mean, that was his first movie with
Oh yeah,
Wolverine.
that was.
The Wolverine where
So
they
he's
go
hit
to
and miss is what you're saying.
Japan.
We don't talk about that one.
So he missed
Actually,
with the Wolverine.
6-1. Who cares?
I actually
Logan.
like the Wolverine. I thought that
I do too.
6-1. 6-1. It's fine. The ratio's good.
No, Logan.
How do you think with this jumping back to the Star Wars movie that Mangold's doing? Do you think we'll see Hugh Jackman show up?
No.
He's worked with Hugh Jackman 3 times because he also directed Kate and Leopold.
Oh, what would be great if he brings in Patrick Stewart to Star Wars, because from Star Trek to Star Wars.
He goes, "May the Force be with you," and just does the Star Trek hand signal.
Yeah. Or if
That's how he force pushes. He pushes with his Star Trek hands.
Patrick Stewart gets to be like a C-3PO type.
Oh, that'd be pretty
He'll
cool.
just be like, I don't believe. No, I don't do a Patrick Stewart.
Is that
so-
Alfred
Work on
from
the Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, that's
Dark
my
Knight?
There you go.
I'm Judge. I was in Star Wars, and we were only supposed to blow the bloody doors off, but the whole space, we get sucked out.
I failed you. I failed you, Captain Kenobi.
6 years.
6 years out.
No,
Well,
people
then-
don't know that.
Gentlemen, some last deserving mentions that we got here also are the Tales of the Jedi Season 2, Andor Season 2 was also announced, and Bad Batch Season 3 was announced. Are there any of these 3 that like pique you guys' interest that you guys want to talk about?
Wait, you said Tales of the Jedi Season 2?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, I didn't watch Season 1, so I still gotta check that out. I've heard good things.
It's incredible.
It's a bit
But
of a
from-
give the shit adventure.
Oh, really?
I mean, half of them are like, okay, and then the Dooku stuff I will
Yeah,
say is kind of
Dooku stuff is like incredible. Yeah,
That's the only
yeah.
thing I was interested in. I haven't seen it, but with the trailers, the Dooku stuff is the only thing that really garnered my interest.
Mhm.
From the title, though, I would say that kind of makes me brainstorm, and I would love a horror Star Wars where it's like Tales from the Crypt. Here's a story of a galaxy far, far away, and then some random story about, you know, like a Rancor that wants to have a regular job, but you know he's a monster, and people only see him as that, and but the people are the monsters. We're not, you know, or, I don't know, something stupid like that.
It's like you're redoing Frankenstein, but
Exactly.
in the Star Wars universe.
I still want to see Ewoks versus Bosk like show or movie. That's just me. But Tales of the Jedi, I mean, it's got to have Jedis in it, I suppose. So that's another thing. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's also Visions Season 2, Star Wars Visions. In the first season, they hired all the best anime studios in Japan to tell their own stories. But now Season 2, from what I've heard, they're not just reaching out to Japanese animation companies, but they're also reaching out to everybody worldwide. So they're supposed to be like a company from India that's working with them, a company from Japan, a company from like Germany, Africa. Like there's just different animation studios from different cultures that are telling the next season of Visions.
What was
Pretty
it?
cool.
Aardvark Studios, who does Wallace and Gromit. They have a segment in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to be claymation too?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
gonna
that's
be-
awesome.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's in the trailer. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting.
That's
Like
cool.
any anthology, there's it's fun to watch them, but some of them you forget, but some of them are really interesting. So I think that seeing claymation Jedi, I think, is going to be pretty cute. And there's also there's a cartoon. Our buddy Piat Michael, a voiceover guy, is voicing Yoda in this like Disney kids show, and he's
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
God, ever since Disney has acquired Star Wars, I've seen so much Lego Star Wars TV shows everywhere. Especially if you go on the Disney Plus channel. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of Lego Star Wars.
I'm tired of seeing Lego Star Wars.
The droids one is canon, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I remember hearing, that the droids Lego show was canon.
Dear God, what have we done?
We're gonna squeeze every last drop out of this timeline, damn it.
We paid billions of dollars. We're gonna get it back.
Unlimited money across the whole timeline.
Unlimited money! I will say this, going back to just tying everything all together, Chad, you're saying that they paid billions of dollars. That's the thing. They paid billions of dollars to make movies, like the shows are all good. I mean, but those are all fine and good, but Disney bought Star Wars from Lucas because they wanted to make movies. And then after a while, it's just like, it's 2019 was the last Star Wars movie we had. And so, coming back.
And it sucked.
So I don't know. I'm glad to see that they're actually they seem a little more committed to making good on that investment and continuing the films, because for a while it was like kind of a drought. And the thing, what I like about the announcements in this Star Wars Celebration versus the last Star Wars Celebration is it seems like they had more put together before they announced things, right?
Yeah.
Versus last year where they just announced something and it was very kind of, Taika Waititi's doing something. We don't know what, but he's writing a Star Wars movie, or like just those kinds of announcements were just so hollow last year. And
I was excited. I was so excited for Patty Jenkins's Rogue Squadron, because I was like, I love the games back in the day, and I was like, you can imagine a Top Gun type of like movie where it's all fighter pilots and they're on a mission of some sort. But I was like, that's interesting. You don't see that part of it, of just the pilot. They're always like coming in to save the day or something like that, but you never see like a squadron, have to defend or an attack a position other than like the big events of like a Death Star or something. But like, I would have loved to see that come to fruition, but obviously that won't be anymore. So.
And then Wonder Woman 84 came out.
That kind of.
Oh man, that was terrible.
Never mind.
I'd say that Mandalorian Season 3 has, if they've brought us anything good, they have had a lot of really good space battles. And so it's been kind of feeding me because I haven't been able to enjoy a Rogue Squadron movie. So thank you for that, Mandalorian Season 3.
That would be great, like a Top Gun in space.
Yeah.
Top Gun in space.
Bring Tom Cruise in. He'll
Language.
knock it out of the park. Sorry. I slipped.
Really quick, Kathleen Kennedy also did say in an interview that they have not shelved Rogue Squadron. She said they've not done anything with it yet. That it's not on the calendar, but nothing is ever completely
They just keep
thrown
adding
away.
other shit though.
Yeah.
You've already added a bunch of shit that's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
I hope to God that the things that they've announced today that we've talked about, none of it will get canceled. In a perfect world, I think hopefully Bob Iger, who's our current CEO, will be like, no, everything stays. We're keeping everything. No firing anybody.
If any of this does get canceled, I won't be surprised. But at the same time, I feel a little bit more confident about coming out of this Star Wars Celebration. That I feel a little more confident that things won't be canceled.
Yeah.
Not like I did last year.
Yeah,
Or they'll
last
just
year.
gaslight and be like, we never said that was going to be made.
Ryan
What are you talking?
Why are you
Ryan
getting so
Johnson
excited?
trilogy? What?
Who said
Never
that?
give Ryan Johnson a trilogy.
All up
Why
in
would
the
we do
air.
that? That's insane.
Dumb. That's,
Meanwhile,
no one
Ryan
does
Johnson
that.
is going out there saying, "Yeah, I'm still working on it."
But again, though, they have
Kathleen
said
Kennedy's like, "I don't know what he's talking about."
it has been definitely, what Raul just said. It has been reported just recently that Ryan Johnson's project is not currently active. So it's safe to assume that that's their code word for saying we're slowly just getting rid of it altogether, which I think most Star Wars fans are going to be like, yeah, but I hope that does go that route, because if we end up getting another Ryan Johnson trilogy, then God help us all.
Well, like I'll say this: I like Ryan Johnson's movie, some of his other movies. It's just the fact that he didn't follow what other people wanted. He did his own thing, and that you can't do and when it's a set, even though the whole movie was, I mean, the whole 3 movies weren't really written out, but the fact is, you can't go the opposite route that other people want you to go, and then
Well, I mean, also he could have, but I mean, also not just him, but JJ didn't lay out any kind
That's
of
true,
blueprint
too.
either.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying it's like it's not one person's fault or another. It was a whole bunch of different things.
but whoever was working on the 3rd film already had like a script.
Well, actually, let me
Going.
make a
Trevorrow, yeah.
Let me make a correction, though. J.J. Abrams did give Rian Johnson a blueprint saying how the trilogy's supposed to go, because he didn't want to deal with it himself. But Rian Johnson was like, let me take your ending and just put that in my movie. And then that's kind of what kind of messed everything up, was that then you have to do a 3rd movie and just retcon some stuff from the 2nd one. This is a whole mess.
Yeah.
And you know the rest. Kathleen Kennedy starts firing directors left and right, and
anyone, like, you can't make a movie just like snuck that by him. Like, nobody was checking in on this thing. Like, wait a minute, that's not the ending we wrote. We're just cancel these shoot dates.
what are you doing?
Hey, Ryan, can we just take a peek at what you got there? No, it's not. No, later. At the
Get
premiere.
your hands off my screen.
Anyway,
At the premiere.
you'll see it when everyone sees it.
It's a surprise.
What is this?
And to think this is all happening with a magnifying glass looking deep into George Lucas's cranium right now. That's all that we've been given, you guys.
Oh, but that would be cool if the movie, the whole movie series zooms out and it's him playing with Jar Jar on his couch going, Misa like it.
It's funny because George doesn't care about it. Like if you ask him,
No.
hey George, what do you think about Celebration? All the announcements. Oh, where they had a celebration? What was that? What?
Well, I mean, they pushed him out too, so he's like, well, all right, then I just won't care.
Oh
anymore.
yeah, I know.
He's got poor guy with his $6 billion. Like
Well, no, but like he
He's
does
the-
care about the property. It's just like he can't do anything about it because
Right? No,
even when he was on set, they were like, yeah, okay. You know.
That's cute,
Thanks, George. We'll consider your thoughts.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think we would do that with the.
Yeah, they did kind of push him out. So it's like,
That's true.
why should he care at this point?
Yeah, the main thing I just hated was they broke my heart with Luke. You don't do that. You can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense what they did with him. Not at all.
Tossing the lightsaber.
Tossing the lightsaber. Oh god.
Like I could have done fine with the rest of the Last Jedi if Luke was like Luke from Return of the Jedi. If he was, but no.
Oh, yeah. Old wizened versions, like,
Yeah.
no, he actually had an identity crisis. Anyways, we could talk about that.
Yeah, no. I would go for
Okay.
hours on.
Star Wars Celebration brings
We
all the
all
love.
know the internet, and everybody has had these conversations over and over again.
They should just start calling it Star Wars
Language.
because that's like nobody is it's a celebration of all of our mistakes.
Even I saw a thing of Sam Witwer, the voice of Darth Maul, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
he works with Lucasfilm a lot, and he even says he's not a fan of Last Jedi because
Yeah.
of that one reason of how Luke was portrayed. He's like
Yeah.
he was willing to die to save his dad. There's no way he would have drawn his lightsaber on his like nephew. He would have tried to peacefully save him. That that would have been child's play for him to save him.
Yeah.
So that's why I was just like, no, it's not believable at all.
That's why I think they should make a Luke Skywalker being a teacher, master Jedi, teaching his Padawans, so that we could flesh out the Knights of Ren and actually give us a real fleshed out reason as to why Luke became the way he
let's
became.
be done with it.
I
Yeah,
know,
it's-
but
it's done and
Still
gone.
on.
it's
No,
like
let's move on.
let's open the wound again and let it
No.
They're
I
going
don't
to.
want
They're
to
going
salt
to.
cauterize it a little
They
bit.
want to, but they're going
Sprinkle
to.
the salt.
No. Let's move. I like that we're going the James Mangold thing. Let's go thousands of years in past. Let's go. Let's expand. I like this.
All right, then. Well, with that, you guys, we made it to the end. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can follow us on Instagram at Real Geek News. You can also follow our separate handles on Twitter and Insta at Kevin A. Rivera VO and Raul Ceballos VO. Chad, where can our fellow geeks find you?
You can find me on Instagram at gchadwickcook, and also check out my podcast, Enter the Nerddom.
Heck yeah.
Right.
Where we're on Instagram and Twitter under the same name, Enter the Nerddom, and we cover pretty much everything under the nerddom sphere. So
It's a fun
Super.
podcast.
It's
Definitely-
really, really
definitely give
fun.
it a listen.
Ted, how about you, my guy?
You can find me at Ted Evans VO on everything: TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I deleted my Twitter because suck it, Elon Musk. I'm so out of the loop. What's happening?
I'm getting ready. I'm so close to deleting my Twitter. I don't
miss it.
Never use it. But you mentioned YouTube, but we also have a YouTube channel too. So if you want to check it out, all our episodes are up there. We even have our movie review episodes, which we've had both Ted and Chad on. So definitely check those out. And please hit the like, subscribe, the bell, all that stuff that everybody tells you to do. Do it.
The bell.
Do it. And also, if you want to help us even more, please go on Apple Podcasts, leave us a good 5-star review. We'd really appreciate your support. It always helps us, get eyes and ears on the show.
Finally, want to share your passionate thoughts and opinions about movies? Any movie reviews you'd like us to do? Well, then really leave us an email at realgeeknews@gmail.com. We'll leave, that's real, R-E-E-L. You see what we did there, everybody? Very nice, very nice. We'll leave all the descriptions below. With all that being said, stay safe, stay classy, and most important of all,
stay geeky, my friends.